bands, not too tight. And we're going to pull our belly button to the spine, tucking your tailbone under. And so I'm not sticking out my ribs. I feel like my ribs are coming down to my hips. I've still got my shoulders down my back pockets. I've recreated that corset. So really protecting your lumbar spine. So lengthen up, little orange underneath my chin. Like we do this quite often, don't have the band too tight. We're just going to lengthen up, squeeze your shoulder blades together, arm circles, knees hip width apart, and back to center. Up onto your tiptoes only if you want to, squeezing your shoulder blades together, let the tension of the band, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and back to center. Pull the belly button to the spine. Some of you might want to stay on your tiptoes. Focus on the point out in front. Really lengthen those arms, just mobilizing all those shoulders, joints, and the muscles that sit around your shoulders. Pull that belly button to the spine and back to center. We're just going to neck flexion. So I'm just going to gently hold on to my head. Just hold on to your band there and tilt your head to the side. I'm thumbing my fist down to the floor and away. So I'm being pulled by a piece of string, just using the weight of my arm to stretch the muscles in the neck and the top of my shoulders. Thumbing my fist, lengthening my arm down to the floor and away, feeling a nice deep stretch in the muscles in the neck. And back to center, and we'll swap over. Just lengthening my head to the side, just the weight of my arm rests on my head, so I'm stretching my neck. So don't pull on your head, thumb your fist down to the floor and away, feeling a nice deep stretch in the muscles in the neck and on the top of the shoulders. And back to center. Now we're just going to have Pilates stance. We're going to roll over. So there's two different rollovers. So some of you with lumbar spine issues, Pilates stance, you're going to stay with a straight back. You're holding onto your hips and you're hinging forward. Nice straight back. Pull the belly button to the spine. Lights coming out your tailbone. I'm being pulled by a piece of string. Now hold on to your thighs. Those with lumbar spine issues, stay here. As for the rest of us, just lengthen down to the floor. We're rounding and curling. Pilates stance if you can. Heels glued together. Now those holding onto your thighs, keep on holding onto your thighs and then lengthen your right arm out to the side or up to the ceiling. So those with a straight back, you'll be doing that. The rest of us, and lengthen back to center. Rotation of that upper spine. Hips are set in stone, lengthen out to the left or up to the ceiling and lengthen back to center. So take a breath in, let the top of your body hang and round and curl your spine. So we restack our spine one vertebra at a time. We're all rounding and curling our spine back to center. We're going to regular stance and up into mountain. Pull that belly button to the spine, pull the band apart. Some of you might want to glue your ankles together and come up onto your tiptoes. Prayer. Arms in line with your ears, back to mountain. Lengthen your arms, chest out to the sun, shoulders down your back pockets. You might be regular stance, you might be on the soles of your feet. Prayer again, you might be gluing your ankles together on your tiptoes and back to mountain. Stay at mountain. Regular stance, you're on the soles of your feet. Now lengthen your arms up to the ceiling. I'm going to step my left foot forward. Can you see what I'm doing there? Now you choose the level that's good for you. You know how it works. We're going to try some balance now with a trapezius stretch. So choose the balance that's good for you. We're not going to move our hips. And we're lengthening our left arm, rotating our upper spine. Can you see I'm lengthening my left arm behind me? And back to center. We're going to do 3 of these. You choose the balance that's good for you. Rotation of my upper spine, I look down at my hand and back to center. We'll do 1 more. You can choose to lengthen out that leg. Wobbling all over the place. It's all about complete stability. So you might just take a little bit of pressure out your big toe, more of a crane, or lengthen out that leg. And we're going to do the other side. Right leg steps in front. You might come up to your crane or lengthen out your leg. Rotation of my upper spine. It's a little bit too difficult extending out my leg and back to center. So we're really stretching our trapezius muscles here. The muscles in the upper back. When the rotation of your upper spine, so if your head can follow your hand, hips are set in stone, squeezing your shoulder blades together, keep that one arm lengthened up to the ceiling. And back to center. Just shake it out. We're going to do one more roll down. Pilates stance. Hold on to your hips. Nice straight back. Pull your belly button to the spine. Gluing your heels together. I'm being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Hold on to your thighs. Well, those with no lumbar spine issues, you can round and curl. You're being pulled by a piece of string. Tailbone up to the ceiling. Push into those heels. Those with a straight back, you're going to rotate out to the right, holding on to one thigh. When the rest of us, we're rotating out to the right. Push into those heels, tailbone up to the ceiling, and lengthen back to center and out to the left. Or up to the ceiling. It's your range of motion. Those with a straight back, you're doing it like this. And lengthen back to center. Let the top of your body hang. We're all going to round and curl our spine. Pull your belly button to the spine. Really C-curve your spine and restack your spine back to center and just shake it out. So you should feel a bit more mobile now, warmed up. We're going to step down onto the mat and we're going to do our spine stretch, working our triceps. We're really layering the exercise here, feeling a lovely deep stretch in the spine, muscles in the back of the legs, but also working the triceps, muscles at the bottom of the arms. So if you can take hold of your band, so I'm going to use a black band for this. So my legs are hip width apart, I've got a nice straight back. Have the band as slack as tight as you want, elbows tucked into your ribcage. And I'm going to hinge forward, straight back. Elbows tucked into my ribcage. I'm being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. I'm hinging forward, keeping that nice straight back. Now, some of you might want to round and curl. Those with lumbar spine issues, keep that straight back as you lengthen your arms behind you. Keep those elbows tucked into the ribcage. I'm being pulled by a piece of string, flex those feet. And then elbows tucked into your ribcage and round and curl so you restack your spine one vertebra at a time and back to center. Now lengthen up. You can stay there for as long as you want if you really want to work your triceps. Straight back. Can you see my back is straight? Elbows tucked into my ribcage, flexing my feet. I'm being pulled by a piece of string, straight back. Stay straight back for those with lumbar spine issues. The rest of us round and curl. You're being pulled by a piece of string, and lengthen and lift those arms behind you. You can stay here for as long as you want. When the rest of us slowly come back up, you can stay there for an extra few seconds, really working your triceps and back to center. One more. We hinge forward. Nice straight back, protecting that lumbar spine. Elbows tucked into your ribcage. Flex your feet. Feel a lovely deep stretch in the muscles in the back of the legs. Elongating the spine. The rest of us can round and curl. Those with lumbar spine issues, keep a straight back. Holding it for 2 to 3 seconds. Some of you might even have weights in your hands, so you're really working those triceps. And restack your spine back to center. Drop the band, part your legs about mat width apart. Put your hands in between your legs, and we're hinging forward. We're going to stretch the triceps. Walk those arms forward. Keep a nice straight back, walking your hands forward. Those with no lumbar spine issues, you round and curl. Flex the feet. Now you think you can't come any further, but see if you can lengthen from the hip joint. Hopefully you know what I mean. And I'm being pulled by a piece of string. So I really feel I'm stretching my spine. Then restack the spine. One vertebra at a time and back to seated. So today we're going to roll up and roll down. So we do this every week, but we're going to do it a few times. Either you have the assistance of the band and you're going to roll down onto your ball. That's tucked into your lumbar spine. I'll just show you. We're going to do it slowly, obviously. You can roll onto your ball back up at level 1, 2, or 3. Or some of you might want to roll all the way down to the mat and back up. So you choose the level that's good for you. Some of you might want assistance of the band there, or some of you might have your cheek cushion. It just helps you roll back up again. So I'm going to start at level 2. Some of you might be starting at level 1 or 3 or holding onto that band. So lengthen up. Don't want to see your elbows, so lean back by an inch, straight back. Relax the feet and legs. Pull your belly button to the spine. Now round and curl the spine, turn your spine into a wheel. As you slowly roll down, one vertebra at a time, slowly, slowly. You might be holding on to your band, or you might be at level 1, or you might be at level 3. We slowly roll down to the ball or to the mat. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, it's easier to come up in level 1. So I went down in level 2 and I'm coming up at level 1 and back to center. So you just choose the level that's good for you. I'm going to see if I can roll down in level 3, lean back on it. I'm tucking in my pelvis, really scooping my pelvis, turning my spine into a wheel. Relax the legs, relax the feet, pull the belly button to the spine. Teaching my spine to be flexible. You're rolling onto your ball or the mat. Take a breath in, so you breathe out. So I've got to come up in level 2, it's too difficult. And slowly restack your spine one vertebra at a time. And back to center. So we're just doing roll down, it's called the roll down. Relax your feet, your legs, straight back, lean back by an inch. Tucking your pelvis. So some of you might be holding onto your band, or you might be at level 1, level 2, level 3. Rolling onto that ball, taking a breath in, or rolling onto the mat. Taking a breath in as you breathe out. Pull your belly button to the spine. And slowly roll up. We're going to do a quick spine stretch. Lengthen your arms up to the ceiling. If it's too much, hold on to your thighs. Lengthen your arms up to the ceiling. Your arms are in line with your ears. Flex your feet. Hold on to your thighs if it's too much, if you're finding it's too much pressure on your lumbar spine. Nice straight back. Flex the feet. I'm being pulled by a piece of string. Those with no lumbar spine issues, round and curl. Lumbar spine issues, keep that spine nice and straight. Being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. And restack the spine back to center. One more, roll down to the mat. Hold on to your band, level 1, 2, or 3. Now slow and controlled, lean back by an inch. I'm really scooping my pelvis. And I'm turning my spine, really scooping my pelvis, turning my spine into a wheel. Not only am I using my core, especially when you breathe out, pull that belly button to the spine. But try to hit every single vertebrae, really teaching my spine to be flexible, really slowly. Feel it in the core. And when you get down to the mat, hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side, crossing your ankles, pulling your knees apart. And thank you to Veronica. So she tried the classic rollover, but found it so much easier to take the block away. So my hands are on the mat, lengthen my legs up to the ceiling, push into your hands, and Veronica found it much easier to remove the cushion. So you come over, so it doesn't matter if you're here, a little bit deeper, part your legs, mat width apart, flex your feet and come to the ceiling, or maybe you can come a little bit lower than hugging your knees to your chest. So just remember to take the cushion away. You might find it a little bit easier. So thank you, Veronica. Keep on hugging the left knee, lengthen the right leg away. So we're opening up the hip flexors, stretching the glutes. Really relax the feet, relax the muscles in your legs and lengthen through the joints. Hold on to your hamstring, calf muscle, not the back of your knee, and push into your heel and start circling one way and then the other. Now, some of you might want to lengthen and lift your head and shoulders off the mat as you stretch the muscles in the back of your legs. A little bit more core work. Bend your knee, lengthen this way, and bring up the opposite knee. So I'm lengthening through the hip joint, hugging my right knee to the chest. Really relax, lengthen, lengthen, feel a lovely deep stretch. In the hip flexors, stretch my glutes. Bring that right knee slightly out to the side, thigh skims your rib cage. So I'm opening the hip flexors a little bit more. Really relax the muscles in the legs. Hold on to your hamstrings, okay? If your sweet spot's there, might be a bit deeper or slightly deeper. So range of motion is personal. Push into your heels, start circling one way and then the other. and peel those shoulders off the mat, only if you want to. Trying to get your chest up to the ceiling. Little bit more core work. Now bring your knee to tabletop. Tee your arms with or without weights in your hands. So you can float up the weight slightly. Bring your knee to tabletop. As you bring your knee across your body, looking in the opposite direction. Nice, keep your shoulders glued to the mat. It's a spine stretch, lumbar spine stretch. Some of you might want to hold on to your knee. If you've got no lumbar spine issues, you can choose to lengthen out that leg for a deeper stretch. Bend the knee, take a breath in. As you breathe out, relax the foot, pull the belly button to the spine and bring your knee back to center and swap over. Up to horizontal alignment. Knee comes across your body, shoulders stay glued to the mat. Only if you want to, you can put a little bit of pressure on your knee to rotate your spine a little bit more, but keep your shoulders glued to the mat, your arms at T. Lengthen out that leg as long as you don't get any pressure on the lumbar spine and it doesn't feel uncomfortable. If it feels uncomfortable, keep that knee bent. Bend your knee, take a breath in. As you breathe out, pull the belly button to the spine and slowly bring the knee back to center. Drop the weights, hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side, crossing your ankles, pulling your knees apart, or some of you are going to try the rollover without the cushion. You might find that easier. So the next exercise we're going to do is the double leg stretch. So with or without weights in your hands, we're doing the double leg stretch. Now, this can be done with one leg. So I'm going to hug both my knees to the chest. If you just want to do one leg only, you're hugging one knee to the chest and swapping halfway through. So we've done this one before, hugging our knees to our chest and lengthening legs and arms up to the ceiling. I'm going to lengthen my arms over my head. Don't flare out the rib cage. Your arms might come here. They might come a little bit deeper. And slowly snow angel your arms round to your thighs and then hug your knees to your chest. So I'm lengthening my legs and arms up to the ceiling. Slowly lengthen my arms over your head so that it might come here, your arms, but you might be able to do it a little bit deeper. And lengthen, lengthen, lengthen through the joints, slow and controlled. Hands come to the thighs and hug your knees to the chest. Now the aim is to get your legs as close to the mat as possible without flaring up your rib cage. You don't want any pressure in the lumbar spine. Double leg stretch. Now you might be doing this with one leg only, and I'll tell you when to swap over. So if you're doing with one leg, you're doing it like this. Slow and controlled. Keep those arms nice and lengthened. Swap over for those doing it with one leg. But we call this the double leg stretch. Now some of you might come, I find that if the lower my legs are to the mat like that, I find that easier than keeping my legs hovered about 12, 15 inches off the mat. That's much harder than that. But you don't want any pressure in the lumbar spine. So it's really slow and controlled. Snow angel is slow and controlled. At any stage, you can float up your head and shoulders. Let's just do a couple more. Lengthen, lengthen, pulling your belly button to the spine. Hugging your knees to your chest. Spine one, lengthen, pulling your knees to, pulling your belly button to the spine. Hugging your knees to your chest, drop the weights. Either hug your knees to your chest or do the rollover. You choose the level that's good for you. The next exercise we're going to do is the crisscross. Now, for those who cannot float their head and shoulders off the mat with or without the weights, you're going to do dead bug fly. Can you see I lengthen opposite leg and arm? So my right leg lengthens down as my left arm lengthens out to the side. Dead bug fly. Your soles, your feet can be on the mat, or the soles or your knees can be at tabletop. That's for those who are unable to lengthen and lift their head and shoulders off the mat. So for the rest of us, our soles of our feet are on the mat. Interlace your fingers behind your head. We're going to do the crisscross. You can choose to have your feet, soles of your feet on the mat, one knee up to tabletop, or two knees up to tabletop, or lengthen your legs. So you choose the level that's good for you, but I think soles of my feet on the floor is hard enough. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, I lengthen and lift my head And head and shoulders off the mat, peeling my shoulders off the mat, chest up to the sun. I'm going to see if I can come up a little bit further, lengthen the lift, feeling it in the deep core muscles, melting my rib cage into the mat. Now I'm rotating my right elbow to left knee. Rotation, so you're not going to touch your elbow on your knee. Rotation of my upper spine only, pelvis is set in stone. And back to center, and my shoulders come back down to the mat. Take a breath in. I lengthen and lift my head and shoulders. Chest up to the ceiling. I'm being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head, trying to peel those shoulders off the mat. I'm going to see if I can come a little bit further, feeling that in the core, and rotation of my upper spine only. Keep those elbows open. You don't want us to look at your elbows. And back to center, and then melt those shoulders back into the mat. Take a breath in as you breathe out, lengthen and lift the head and shoulders. I'm not pulling up my neck, I'm keeping an orange underneath my chin. I'm just resting my head in my hands. Rotation of my upper spine. And back to center, and melt my shoulders into the mat. So I take a breath in, I'm up for one. I'm going to see if I can come a little bit further. Oh, really feeling it in the core. Rotation of my upper spine only. Pelvis doesn't move at all. Really feeling that. If you want to progress, you bring one knee up to tabletop. So lengthen and lift a little bit further. Ooh, both knees up to tabletop. Rotation, holding, back to center, melting my shoulders into the mat. So you have the leg position, that's good for you. But see, oh, that's too hard with lengthened leg. So I come up for one, take a breath in, come up for another one. Then I rotate. Rotation, thinking about nothing is moving, my pelvis is not moving. Back to center and slowly come back down to the mat. Relax those feet, lengthen and lift. Lengthen and lift a little bit further. I'm not pulling on my neck, a little orange underneath my chin. And rotate. Rotation of my upper spine only, keeping my elbows open. The rest of you are in dead bug fly. This is a final one, rotation. And lengthen and lift. Lengthen and lift a little bit more. Rotation of my upper spine. Keep those elbows open. Back to center and melt my shoulders into the mat. Hug your knees to your chest, pulling your knees apart. Or some of you will remove your block. Push into those arms. So I'm working the muscles in my arms a little bit more. Part my feet, mat width apart. Flex my feet down to the ceiling or a little bit further without flaring up my rib cage. Now we're all going to do a full body stretch to really stretch out the muscles in the core. Lengthen your arms away from each other. Try to lengthen your toes and your fingers away from each other. Lengthen, lengthen. And when you're ready, we'll roll over to the side. So today we're going to do bend and extend of our legs. So you can choose if you want a loop band around your thighs, even harder around your ankles, or weights on your ankles, or nothing at all. And actually, some of you might want to grab a weight. Now, we're in between two panes of glass. So some of you might want to lengthen your bottom leg slightly out in front, and that one's for stability, because what I would love you to do is rest your hands with or without a weight on your thigh. If you find you're wobbling all over the place, you can put your hand in front, but the aim is to rest that hand on your thigh. And can you see it's the bottom leg that's giving you stability? Now, if you can, if you don't need as much stability, I'd like you to lengthen both legs away from each other. Now we're going to lengthen and lift the top leg. So remember, it's about total stability. Lengthen and lifting the top leg as high as it can go. I've got smaller range of motion because of my band. And I'm going to bend, my thigh doesn't move. Relax the foot and extend. I'm pulling my band apart. I'm bending, relax the foot and extending. That's harder for me because I've got a weight on my thigh. Bending and extending. Bending. So you rest whenever you like and extend. Always lengthening through the hip joints. I can really feel that in the thighs and the glutes. Now, if you want to progress, can you see I've now lengthened and lifted my bottom leg. And I'm doing double bend, extend. But you don't want to wobble all over the place. Bend, extend. With this one, have a rest, and then come back into position. I'm really thinking about keeping that pelvis, oh, I'm wobbling a bit, keeping that pelvis completely vertical. Bend and extend, lengthening, lifting either one leg up to the ceiling. I need to take that band off a moment. So can you see? Bending and extending, relaxing the foot, lengthening through the hip joint. Bend, thighs don't move, they're in alignment, and extend. I'm being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. You want to go a little bit further. You I'm wobbling. You lengthen and lift both legs. This is really hard. Bend and extend, but lengthen and lift those legs as high as they can go. And remember, you're relaxing the feet. Any stage, you can lengthen and lift that head, only if you want to. I'm going to have to put one foot down, so I'm wobbling all over the place. It's pointless if you're wobbling all over the place, because it's my deep core muscles keeping me totally stable. And if I'm wobbling all over the place, I should come down a level. Let's just do a few more. Rest whenever you like and come back into position. Let's just do a few more. I'm going to go for double again. Total stability. Oh, wobble there. Let's just do one more. I'm leaning back. I should be in 2 panes of glass. My pelvis should be completely vertical. And back to center and just pat it out. So hopefully you should feel that in your glutes, feel it in your thighs, and I could really feel that in my waist as well. So now we're going to go straight into our open book, classic open book with an increased range of motion. But if some of you want to try side kneeling, you can, with or without a band. So I'm just going to show you what I would like you to do. For those not doing that classic open book, I want you to flex forward, pulse, pulse, and soft point behind, with or without a band. So I'm flexing forward at hip height, pulse, pulse, and sweeping my leg across the table, soft point back, pulse, pulse. Top of my body doesn't move. I'd like you to do that while the rest of us, we're doing our classic open book, which I think is hard enough. So we're going to bend our knees in front. The shins are in line with the edge of our mat. Our arms are in front, palm to palm. Now you're going to lengthen and lift that top leg diagonally across. Some of you might want to keep it rested actually, because we've been working our glutes hard. But if you want to sweep your leg forward and backwards, lengthen and lift your leg diagonally across. Your arms are in front, palm to palm. Now you lengthen your top arm longer than your bottom. And I'm going to open up my book. With or without the small equipment. Open up your book. Really think about rotating the upper spine. Lengthen through the hip joints as you increase your range of motion with your leg. So don't drop the foot. Stay at hip height. Work those glutes to stay at hip height. And then I close my book. Keep that foot lengthened at hip height. Close your book and sweep your leg behind you. Relax the foot. Open up the hip flexors, lengthen and lift that leg. You use your glutes to lengthen and lift the leg. Lengthen the top arm longer than the bottom. Head follows my hand. I'm really thinking about, I'm rotating my upper spine. My arms are really lengthened away from each other. And already I've got a bigger range of motion there of my leg. So your range of motion might be here, here, or slightly deeper. And as I always say, your range of motion is personal. I find my range of motion is much smaller in my first open book, and it's much deeper when I get to my third. Relax that foot, lengthen through the hip joint, lengthen your arms at 2. Don't drop that foot, keep it nice, lengthened and lifted. Totally relax the foot and the leg. All comes from the hip joint. Bend your knee, those are side kneeling. Come back down to the mat. So we're going to come straight into our bridge. And today's bridge is slightly different. You're going to hold on to your bands if you want to. Remove your block. So I'm just going to show you. We're going to do fly bridge. So I'll just show you. We're going to come up into that bridge. Your arm's going to be lengthened up to the ceiling. And I'm going to bring one arm out to the side, and back to center, and out to the side, and back to center. You're going to do 2 either side. Now, for those who find that a little bit too difficult, I would like you to do this instead. 2 on either leg, holding on to your hips. If you can lengthen your arms up to the ceiling, great. Out to fly. Now, if you want to progress even further, good luck, because I find this really difficult. You can dead bug fly. So you lengthen opposite leg and arm away from each other. Can you see what I'm doing there? So I'm lengthening my right arm and lengthening my left arm out to the side without disturbing that alignment. Good luck, but that's much harder. So you choose the level that's good for you. So I have my band, you don't have to use a band, around my hips. Feet closer to my seat bones. And I'm squeezing my glutes, pushing into my heels. I'm in that perfect alignment. Only if you want to, you can come up to your tiptoes. I'm lengthening my arm up to the ceiling. Arms up to the ceiling. And I'm bringing my left arm out to the side. Have that band as slack, as tight as you want. You can have it a bit tighter. And then flying my right arm out to the side. Complete stability. I'm going to do one more either side. Some of you might be incorporating the leg. So much harder. I find that really difficult. Lengthening my right arm out to the side as my left leg lengthens out. And I'm tucking in my pelvis, C-curving my spine, and coming either back to center and starting that bridge again, or we just do our regular boat, holding onto your hamstrings for support, or lengthening your legs out to, lengthening your arms out to the side and into teaser. Keep that nice straight back and slowly, slowly roll down, and we'll do it again. Feet close to my seat bones, pushing into my heels, squeezing my glutes, lengthening those knees away, hips up to the ceiling. Open up the hip flexors. Only if you want to, you can come up onto your tiptoes. Progression. We lengthen our arms up to the ceiling. Some of you might be holding onto your hips and just lengthening out either leg twice. But for the rest of us, with or without a band, fly my arm out to the left and fly my arm out to the right and back to center. Now, some of you might incorporate the leg. Good luck, so I find it really difficult. So it's bridge with that dead bug fly. And the aim is complete stability. Then tuck in your pelvis, C-curve your spine. You can come back to center, do one more, make it your final boat. Nice straight back, holding onto your hamstrings for support, or come a little bit further and lengthen your arms out to the side. Or some of you might want to try teaser. Chest out to the sun, nice straight back. Some of you might be holding onto your hamstrings for support. Boat and slowly, slowly roll down. Finish off your final bridge. And then we all hug our knees to our chest, or some of you might be doing a rollover. Just choose the little lumbar spine stretch, that's good for you. Full body stretch. Lengthen your toes and fingers away from each other. Pull the belly button to the spine. Melt the rib cage into the mat. And then we roll to the side, and we just do our bend and extend from the other side. Do it really slowly when you get up, because we've been on the floor for quite a while now. So I'm in between 2 panes of glass. Some of you might have that band around your ankles or your thighs. So I'm in between that double glazing. It'd be great if you can keep your hand rested on your thigh and just use your leg for stability, with or without a weight. Now, if you have stability, it'd be great if you can lengthen both legs away. So you just choose the level that's good for you. So I'm lengthening, lifting my top leg. Total stability, pelvis doesn't move. Relaxing my foot, I'm bending and I'm extending. Can you see the only thing that's moving is my leg in my knee joint? Enough total stability. Relax the foot, I can really feel that in the glutes, the thighs. Bend and extend. Keep that leg lengthened and lifted. Bend and extend. At any stage, you can lengthen and lift your head, but you want total stability. Now, if you want to come a little bit further, can you see I've done a double leg lift there? And I'm bending, and I'm extending much harder. You don't want to wobble all over the place. You can maybe try it, but just put your arm in front for stability. Bend, and extend. Bend. It's all about total stability. So I'm going to do a few of these. And try not to wobble. I'm really concentrating on staying really stable. Relaxing my feet, relaxing my legs, and lengthening through the hip joints. All the rules apply. Shoulders down my back pockets. Being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Pull that belly button to the spine. I need a little rest, so I'm just incorporating one leg only. Remember, you can have that bottom leg slightly lengthened out in front. So you rest whenever you like, and then come back into position. Thighs are burning now, glutes are burning. As I said, at any stage, you can lengthen and lift that head. Okay, let's make it our final one. Really feeling that in the thighs there. Relax foot, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And just come down to center and just pat it out. So we're going to go straight into open book. Remember, with or without a band, some of you might want to do your kneeling. You might try a couple of kneelings and then do one open book, with or without a band. Come in between that double glazing, flex forward, pulse, pulse. Sweep my leg behind me, pulse, pulse. Top of my body stays completely stable. Well, the rest of us are going to do our open book. With increased range of motion, you don't have to incorporate your leg, but if you want to, we're going to increase the range of motion of our leg. So with my small equipment, I'm going to either keep my leg lengthened diagonally across. You don't have to incorporate the leg. If you want to work a bit harder, you lengthen and lift that leg. Head doesn't come off the block. So I lengthen my top arm, longer my bottom. Head stays glued to the block. And I'm really thinking about rotating my upper spine as I lengthen my top leg diagonally across. I'm going to increase the range of motion. I'm going to increase it a little bit more. So your range of motion could be here, here. It's completely personal. Keep those arms lengthened at T. Relax the foot, lengthen through the hip joint as you close your book. Sweep the leg behind, relax the foot. Lengthen my top arm, longer my bottom. Head follows my hand. And I'm really lengthening through my shoulder joint, really opening my chest, rotating my spine. Pelvis stays set in stone. Don't drop the foot, stay at hip height. And close the book. Sweep the leg behind you. Some of you won't be using your leg at all. Some of you will just be resting as you just open up your book. So you choose the level that's good for you. Hopefully you feel like me. My first open book, I don't feel extremely flexible, but by the third, I feel so much more flexible. Remember, lengthen through the hip joint and just pat the glutes. So we're going to go into prone. So today's prone will be diamond here. So I'm resting on my forehead, on my diamond. And we're going to do salutes with arm extension. And only if you want to, you can incorporate the leg. You don't have to incorporate the leg at all. So my legs are max width apart. So protecting my lumbar spine. With or without a band, you can take on tension of the band. I'm going to show you without. Legs are max width apart. Push the pubic bone into the mat, pulling your belly button to the spine. So I'm going to take you through the progression so you can always come up and down progression. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, I'm rolling a marble forward and I'm literally lengthening, lifting my head and sternum only. I'm looking down in the mirror. I've got hardly any pressure under my hands or my elbows, and I'm being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Pushing my pubic bone into the mat, pulling my belly button to the spine, and lengthen back to center. Still really using the muscles in your upper back. That's good, feels good for you. Stay at that level. If not, you're going to salute your left hand, step to your forehead, lengthen and lift. Only if you want to, you can incorporate your opposite leg, lengthen and lift. Now you're going to lengthen your left arm out to the side, back to salute, and back down to the mat. Remember, some of you might have bands in your hands and bands around your ankles, so you can make it as hard as easy as you want. So I'm lengthening, lifting my head and sternum. I'm saluting my right hand. Only if you want to, you can incorporate the left leg. Don't have to incorporate the leg. Hold it for a couple of seconds. I'm lengthening out my right arm to the side. Back to salute and back down to the mat. I'll show you with the bands now. So I lengthen and lift. Incorporating the leg, you don't have to. Lengthen my arm out to the side with a band. Back to salute and back down to the mat. If you want to go even further, it's double salute. Double leg lift. Lengthen your arms out to T, with or without the small equipment. Look down in the mirror. Back to salute and back down to the mat. So you just choose the level that's good for you. Pushing your pubic bone into the mat, pulling your belly button to the spine. Some of you might be doing double salute and not even resting on the mat. T in your arms. Double salute, and this is when it's your own personal challenge. T in your arms, with or without the small equipment. Remember, you can always rest and come down a level. So I'm feeling a bit fatigued. So I'm just going to do single salute, incorporating my leg. Just make it your final one either side. Oh, I forgot to extend my arm. Or your final two doubles. I'm just doing my final one. So see if you can hold it for a couple of seconds. Lengthen out to a couple of seconds. Back to salute. Back down to the mat. Everyone, capital E's their arms rocking their hips from side to side, just releasing any tension you hold in your lumbar spine. Now we're going to come into Sphinx pose, which we've been doing for the past few weeks. My legs are still mat width apart, and my elbows are sitting underneath my shoulders. And can you see what I'm doing with my hands here? Sphinx pose. If that's too uncomfortable, come to capital E like we do most weeks. But hopefully you can do this. Squeezing your glutes, pulling your belly button to the spine. Look down in the mirror, and then I'm now pushing into my elbows, chest out to the sun, shoulders down my back pockets. So I feel a little bit of a spinal extension there. We're going to hold it for a few seconds and then relax and look down at the mat. Now we turn it into a lizard. So I'm pushing into my elbows, chest out to the side, trying to get my shoulders down my back pockets, trying to really get my chest out to the sun. Now I'm pushing into my left hand, looking over my left shoulder, and I'm looking at my left foot. My left hip is glued to the mat. And I'm really looking and lengthening, lifting, looking at my left foot, trying to straighten that left arm and lengthen back to center. So we're in a Sphinx, but we're doing the lizard. I lengthen, lift, chest out to the sun, shoulders down the back pockets, pushing into my elbows. Now I'm pushing into my right hand, looking over my right shoulder, looking at my right foot, right hip glued to the mat, left elbow glued to the mat. Really look at that right foot and lengthen back to center. We're going to see if we can go into full cobra now by lengthening and lifting my head and sternum, pushing into my hands, shoulders down my back pockets, and I'm trying to straighten my arms. Now push into your pubic bone, pulling your belly button to the spine, spinal extension, and lengthen back to center. Now everyone puts their hands underneath their shoulders and we come up into cat and cow. Those with knee issues, you're going to roll on the side into a fetal ball, hugging your knees to your chest when we do cat and cow. So we're sticking out the bottom, squeezing a tennis ball between your shoulder blades, and then rounding and curling your spine, pushing into your palms, squeezing your glutes. Some of you might want to float your knees off the mat by no more than 2 centimeters. So I'm really squeezing my glutes, rounding and curling my spine. It might be a little bit more comfortable to tuck the toes under. A little bit more core work. Knees to the mat. One more cow. Sticking out your bottom, squeezing a tennis ball between your shoulder blades. Rounding and curling your spine, pushing into your palms, squeeze your glutes, floating your knees off the mat by no more than 2 centimeters. Or you can keep your knees on the mat, it's up to you. Turbo cat is just a progression which you don't have to do. And back to 4-point kneeling. Now 4-point kneeling, those with knee issues, you can do exactly the same as me in prone. I want you to lengthen and lift your head and sternum off the mat. So you're lengthening and lifting your head and sternum off the mat. And you're going to do exactly the same as me in prone. So we're doing leg pull with or without the arm incorporation. So I'm going to lengthen my left leg. This can be done at plank as well. And with soft point down and flexing up. Leg pull, total stability. Now, only if you want to, we're doing 4 to 5 one side. Maybe you feel like you might want to do 8 to 10, it's up to you. Flex up, soft point down. Now, I have lengthened my right arm out to the side at fly. So I'll show you from this side. So remember 4 to 5, you might want to do a few more. So soft point down, flex up. With or without a band, my arms at fly. Those in prone, you can do exactly the same in prone. You've lengthened and lifted your arm out to the side. Your soft point down, flex up to hip height, and you've lengthened and lifted your head and sternum off the mat. Total stability. When you've done 4 to 5, or maybe you might want to do 8 to 10, you come back to center and come to the other side. Plank. Don't stick out the bottom, flex up, soft point down to hip height. Now you're going around the clock. You do one leg, one the other leg, and then you do the arm, fly the arm 4 to 5 times. So I know, Susie, you would love to do that. So let's just do our final reps. Flex down, flex up, sorry, soft point down. Only if you want to, you can lengthen that arm out to the side. It doesn't matter, I'll show you from this side, if your arm is just coming off the mat a little bit, but the aim is shoulder height, and the aim is stability. Let's make it the final 3, 2, and 1. And we're all going to come into a child's pose, knees and mat width apart, gluing your big toes together. If you can, we're going to come into child's pose. Lengthening your arms forward, pushing your chest into the mat. Walking those hands forward, resting your forehead on the mat and rocking your head from side to side, just getting your breath back. Now you can walk your hands over to 10 o'clock, right hand sits on left. Really walk those arms forward, feeling lovely deep stretch down the right side, pushing your chest into the mat, sitting on your heels. Really stretch those arms forward and walk over to 12. Chest into the mat, walk those hands forward and over to 2. Left hand sits on right. I'm still especially walking that left hand away, feeling a lovely deep stretch down the left side. And then walk over to 12. Use your core to do the work. Squeeze your glutes, see, curve your spine, pull that belly button to the spine and come to 4-point kneeling. We're going to do our thread the needle with or without a band. So make sure you're stacked. For those, I think those with knee issues, you know you have to lie on your back. Hopefully you know what to do. You're lying on your back and you're doing this one. And then you do the other side. So you keep on doing that. When the rest busts, you thread the needle. Make sure you're stacked. Right hand lengthens out to the side or up to the ceiling. Now, can you see when I'm lengthening my arm, I'm not sticking out my hip, I'm keeping my hips completely square. I find some people do this. You don't want to do that. You want to stay completely square, pushing into that supporting hand. Now lengthen that arm all the way down to the mat. Lengthen, 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 filling it in the shoulders and the waist. Right arm threads underneath left. And push into that left hand. Again, you're not sticking out your hips. I'm pushing into my left hand, really rotating my upper spine. Only if you want to, you can incorporate the left leg, lengthen and lift it. And some of you might want to see if you can swing your left leg out to the side as you unthread your right arm out to the side or up to the ceiling. Is your range of motion. Push into that left hand, the supporting hand. Really open up the chest as much as you can, lengthening your arms away from each other. And lengthen back to center. Lovely deep stretch. Holding that stretch, you're continuously strengthening. Back into full-point kneeling. Left arm lengthens out to the side, with or without a band. Up to the ceiling is your range of motion. Don't stick out the hips. Keep the hips nice and square. Pushing into that supporting hand. Lengthen. Left arm threads underneath right. Really walk that left arm away before you try and get your shoulder onto the mat and push into the right hand. Only if you want to. You can lengthen and lift the right leg. It's a progression. Keep the hips nice and flat. Or some of you might want to just try to lengthen the right leg out to the side. Maybe try it once. Try to keep it nice and straight. So you unthread your left arm out to the side, up to the ceiling. I'm really thinking about pushing into that supporting hand. And lengthen. Feeling that in my shoulders, but I can really feel that in the waist as well. And back to center. We come to the side and we'll slowly roll down. So let's continue to work our core as we slowly roll down. So at level 1, 2 or 3, or you're using your band for assistance. So lengthen up, shoulders down your back pockets. Let's do it really slowly. Lean back by an inch. Tucking your pelvis, C-curve your spine. Relax the feet and legs. Really pull the belly button to the spine. And I'm really rounding and curling my spine, turning my spine into a wheel. I'm going to come to level 2 actually. You're at level 2 or 3. You don't want to look at your elbows. Try not to cheat. Some of you might have that little cushion near your lumbar spine so you don't suddenly slump down. But come down really slowly. Work the core. Especially as you breathe out. Pull that belly button to the spine. And I'm really thinking about rounding, curling my spine here, working my core, but really teaching my spine to be flexible. Hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Some of you might want to come a little bit further and do the rollover. It doesn't matter if you're here. You just find over time, you can get deeper and deeper. And as Veronica said, I think Veronica couldn't do it first of all, and now she does it all the time. I think that's right, Veronica. So if you just grab your band, we're just going to stretch it out. Put the band underneath the arch of your right foot. Left leg is bent or lengthened, depending on your flexibility. So first of all, we're going to push into the heel, hugging the lengthened leg to the chest, feeling a lovely deep stretch. Pushing into that heel, you feel a deeper stretch in the calf muscles. Now really relax the foot and the leg as you tee your left arm to the side. Really relax the foot. And I want you to pull your belly button to the spine and slowly lengthen your leg out to the side, but relax the foot. So then you really feel it in the core. Lengthen through the hip joint. Feeling a lovely deep stretch in the inner thighs, but I'm working my core still. And lengthen that leg back to center. Switch off all those muscles. Relax the foot and try not to tug on the band. I'm squeezing my glutes, pulling my belly button to the spine. Put the band in the left hand, tee the right. Sometimes I put my elbow, can you see my left elbow on the floor for support so I don't suddenly fall down. It's all slow and controlled. Look in the opposite direction if you can. And slowly lengthen that leg back to center, feeling it in the glutes now. And we swap over. Right leg bent or lengthened, depending on your flexibility. Push into your heel, pull the band towards you, pushing into that heel. Now relax your leg, tee your arm, and slowly lengthen the leg outside. Really relax. Pelvis still has a bowl of soup, it stays horizontal. Pull the belly button spine, lengthen through the hip joint and lengthen back to center. I'm lengthening through the hip joint, squeeze my glutes, pulling my belly button to the spine. Hand in the band in the right hand to the left. And I'm lengthening that leg slowly out to the side, looking in the opposite direction. Shoulders stay glued to the mat. Now slowly lengthen back to center. Drop the band. Let's stretch the glutes. Left ankle on right thigh. Hugging your knees to your chest. Really relax that foot. Hug that knee to the chest, feeling a lovely deep stretch in the left glute. Only if you can, lengthen your legs up to the ceiling. We swap over. We'll get there any way you can. Right ankle on left thigh, hugging your knee to your chest. Really relax that left foot. And gently put your foot down. Remove your block and just get your ball. We're just pushing to the ball, chin tuck. Remember your double chin and breathe. Pushing into the ball, creating that double chin. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. And release. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. And release. And just one more. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. And release. And just slowly roll your head from side to side. Really relax the muscles in the neck. And see if you can deepen the stretch using the ball. Deepen the stretch in your neck. Just releases loads of tension you hold in your head, neck and shoulders. And back to center. And when you're ready, you slowly roll to the side in your own time. Slowly, slowly. We come to seated. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Get that nice neutral pelvis by sitting on your block. Can you see I've lengthened my legs forward and I'm hugging my left leg to the chest. And I'm holding my right hand on my knee and my left hand comes behind me and I'm rotating. I'm looking behind me. So I'm pushing into my knee. You should have your hand up like that. Look behind you and I'm being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. And then we're going to come in the opposite direction. Hold your left hand on your right knee. Lengthen up. My right hand is behind me. And I'm rotating my upper spine. And back to center. We'll just do the other side. So I put it's difficult when I'm doing it, it's my left hand, your left hand on your knee. Actually, it's like that, it's more your elbow. Your hand comes behind you, right hand comes behind you. Rotation of your upper spine. So I'm pushing my elbow into my knee, being pulled by a piece of string. So it's rotation of my upper spine, and we'll do the other way. So my right hand rests on my left knee, and my left hand comes behind me. Hopefully you understand what I'm doing here. Just rotation. And back to center. So now we come to 4-point kneeling. Those with lumbar spine issues, come up with a step forward, come up with a straight back. The rest of us, tuck your toes under. You might want some weights in your hands. Your heels are glued together. You're at Pilates stance. Your toes are out to a 45-degree angle. Let the top of your body hang. As you push into your heels, tailbone up to the ceiling. I'm holding on to weights as I slowly restack my spine. Micro bend in the knees, squeezing my glutes, pull that belly button to the spine, and I can really feel my deep core muscles are restacking my spine, one vertebrae at a time, and back to center. We'll just do some arm circles. You might want to drop the weights, lengthen your arms over your head, squeeze your shoulder blades together, try not to stick out your rib cage. And if you want to, you can come onto your tiptoes, back down to the soles of your feet, or you might want to stay on your tiptoes. Keep those arms nice and lengthened. Still working our core here, so I'm really thinking about my balance. One more. Back to center.